Hi, I'm Amanda White, co-owner, co-creative director at iam8bit.
And I'm John Gibson, co-owner and co-creative director of iam8bit. Same title. Yeah, literally.
Your company's been doing very well this last, I want to say 4 or 5 years. What's it been like seeing the growth of your company, over this last year?
I don't know, it's been fun. It's like Summer Game Fest, Day of the Devs, all of our products, and the publishing label. It's like, we don't know where we're going half the time, but we're very nimble and we like to pivot and react and ride the waves of the ocean. So we're pretty joyous about it as a general reaction.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we aim to innovate and iterate and optimize, I guess, all the time with what we're doing. So it's exciting to hear that your perception is that we're doing well. Yeah.
He thinks you're doing well, so we must be, I guess. Yeah. No, it's
Little does
interesting.
he know.
Your company does so much. You guys have not just the amount of hats, but just what you dip your toes into: merchandise, event coordination. I mean, so much of it, publishing. You guys do just a plethora of things. Does that get overwhelming, and do you have a really good team? How do you manage all those different facets of business?
Wow, we like to keep it busy. Honestly, we talk about it. It's if we weren't busy and we weren't constantly doing different things, we'd probably be bored. And if we're bored, we might as well just retire. So we like to keep it that way. But we have a great team. We have how many people now?
We have 56 people, and they're all awesome. Yeah.
And they all do different things. It's we have the publishing team, we have the product team, we have our marketing team that does all the event stuff, and they all kind of intermingle and congeal into this thing called iam8bit.
It's funny. I was told that they have Fallout water bottles here, and I was told that was the 8-bit coordinator that had that idea.
It's one of those things where we were talking internally, and we're oh, we need to have water stations, and then they came up with this idea of well, what if Fallout and Nuka-Cola and water? These are the things that happen organically in the space of event planning. It's you have a need and desire to do something functionally, and then branding and themes, and it all comes together. You don't know where it's coming from, and then it happens one day.
Is there a lot of cross-contamination, with the event planning and the merchandise side, or even the publishing side? I imagine with publishing and merchandise, there might be some, you guys do records sometimes, vinyl records, or toys, or books, or plushies, or collector's editions. But is there more crossover in the event space sometimes with other things that you guys are working on?
I mean, certainly it puts us in a position to be able to have conversations with future partners, current partners, past partners, and so that's always a lovely place to be.
And that's how our merch started in the first place. We were speaking of the hydration station and the lovely. Have you had the water? It's lovely.
My friends are grab. I want a bottle. Bring me back a bottle. I'm okay, sure.
Well, that's how our licensing business started. We were making things to give away to people at events, and then we realized vinyl soundtracks and these T-shirts and art prints were sought after commodities that went on eBay for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
At least you saw, they do.
Yeah, and then we're well, why don't people make these things and sell them? And then we realized no one was thinking of that, and we started trying to license stuff, and people said we were insane to license music for vinyl. And then we've made over 300 soundtracks on vinyl now, and so it was out of events and enthusiasm and fanfare that we're oh, we noticed people want these things, so let's make them available.
No, vinyl's made a comeback. Speaking to that, and you guys were on the forefront. I remember getting press releases from you about vinyl soundtrack game releases years and years ago, and you guys are still at the forefront of that as well. How does something like that come into fruition? Because that's a whole, like I said, we talk about it already, but that's a whole nother facet of business. It's now you're dealing with distribution and a physical product release and licensing, and vinyl's its own subcategory of business.
Sure. Yeah, so our first vinyl was actually a marketing mailer for Tron Evolution. And I think we made 100 units of that record and sent it out into the world to media. And it became really sought after, like John was talking about. And, it was going on the aftermarket for something like $1,500. And we started thinking, wow, people really want this stuff. And I have a history and a deep love of vinyl. Introduced John to it.
I didn't have a record player until she was oh, you would appreciate this. It's it's sorcery, putting a needle on a vinyl. Yeah.
I just got one a couple months ago. Yeah. I got my first record player, so I have that, so I feel that. Your hat is really distracting me. I'm just seeing the commercial that I saw in the 90s everywhere.
And the font is very particular.
Yeah. Where did you make that?
No, I got it at a film festival in New Orleans. It was a merch stand, and I love movies and I love DVDs, and I just remember this FBI warning, and you wouldn't steal a car.
They had a terrible commercial making you're gonna go to jail for like downloading a Napster song.
No, totally. And it was like literally, I saw the merch stand, I saw the hat, and then I was like, let's leave. And I was going in the escalator, and I was like, no, and I went right back up, and I have to have that hat. I bought 2 of them, one for my friend Jordan too.
So you guys, obviously you've been in game space for a while, publishing space for a while, all that stuff. You spoke about film. Like, is this like, are you gonna expand again to like film and like television?
Ask her, she was the
I mean, that's my history. I don't know if we'll go back, but it's definitely where I started and sort of where our production chops kind of came from. The way we structure, the way we do event build-outs and project planning in general kind of comes from that space. We both love movies, so you never know, I guess.
How has the gaming industry, from your perspective, been different than the Hollywood entertainment industry? Either from a business sense or from a public sense or from a,
I mean, I could talk for hours. I would say that the biggest difference in my mind is that there's a willingness to take risks in the game business creatively in order to reach audiences, that there's an investment in the audience that you don't see in film. And, that's part of why we have a business, is because companies are willing to put dollars behind connecting with their communities, their fandoms, the ultra nerdy things that people are going crazy about in their games. And, it's really a totally different universe on the film side. And maybe they've started to do that a little bit because they're learning from the video game business. But on this side of things, it's just much rosier in that respect.
How close does the publishing angle come to like a producing angle? Because it's very similar. Like, when you're putting together a team or picking out a project or a screenplay, right? It's the same. It's got to be very similar, right?
I mean, I am not an expert at producing games. We have someone on our team who is an expert, so I don't want to misspeak, but sure, theoretically, I imagine it's similar.
So with events, though, it certainly, you hire leads that run departments, and there's production designers, there's, overarching producers, and there's like line producers that do this kind of thing, and there's like an AD that does this kind of, exactly.
Everybody,
And everyone is like on top of their game, and you meet at the end of every day and you talk about what's happening, and then suddenly events happen, and
it's about finding a specialist to run each section of something, right? Finding someone who really understands that part of what you're trying to create, and then trusting that person, because we're not micromanagers. We love to give people freedom, and so having a great strong team with people who are very specialized is key to us. In fact, we have a great production design team, and I don't know if you've been around in any of the custom spaces, but they're beautiful this year. They look amazing, and done some really great work, and that's a very filmic kind of approach, right? So, yeah.
As soon as we've had with at E3 for when E3 was a thing, people understand that there is a booth design, there is events-based design, and it goes into like this whole thing where you have to plan 6, 12, 18 months ahead of schedule to make sure this is what we want to talk about, this is the style we want, let's make it happen, here's our budget. And the budget's never what you want it to be, but you make it work, right? This show has been fantastic. Your signage is everywhere. That's why I got lost. I went to all 3 of your 8-bit signs, and this was the last one that was hidden in the back here. I'm like, they'll be in the cabanas. No, they'll be where Hen is. Nope, they'll be back here. How long does a show like this take from like inception, from like you sign the contract, right? You're doing it, to actually putting down the first pole for the tent?
Well, it starts right now.
Yeah.
Our job today was to walk around to everybody and say, like, what about next year? So it's a full 24, 365 cycle. Like, we're literally thinking about 2026 and also 2027 a little bit.
Now, when you get approval for stuff, do you work with Jeff first and then kind of go down the ladder to like the vendors after that, like your game devs, your merchandise devs, like your partners? Is that how that approval process works?
So we're collaborating with Jeff all the time. Like his focus is the live show with his team. He has his own team of excellent producers and production crew that like handle that. We handle all the production on the live event. So after the YouTube theater show, and there's a tremendous relationship, and everyone's talking to each other all the time. And the real harmony is when something debuts on the live show, and then suddenly you've made an appointment. You don't even know what you're going to play because it was under embargo and it's secretive. That thing gets announced, and then the next morning you show up and you get to play that thing. And that's the real magic of Summer Game Fest.
So 12 months, about a 12-month cycle from inception to finally, here's what we're doing.
That's not to say that
Approximately.
things don't happen last week that manifest themselves either. We try to plan ahead, but we're also nimble. We're reactionary. We're able to like move and pivot. when it's games. Like video games don't plan that far ahead. So we try to be reactive and helpful in that way.
You know, we always joke because like E3 obviously died, right, because of just circumstances and all this stuff. But like this has been happening every year consistently since the apocalypse, and it continues to every year like clockwork. That June news cycle is very important in our industry because August is too late, right? You're in Q3. People need to get it out earlier. Do you anticipate this show getting bigger? It perhaps one day, it could be 10, 20, 30 years from now. Will this be in the Expo Center one day?
We never want to be in the convention center. I will say that with definitively. I mean, we've been trying to create almost the antithesis of a standard kind of corporate convention experience, right? We try to give people fresh air and no lines and delicious food and ease of setup and not a massive $20 million investment to be here, right? Curating the media and influencers who are here, along with partners in games that are here, so that we're really giving everybody a top-notch experience, and we are not getting so busy and unpleasant to be at that people stop coming, or that it becomes a chore. We always want it to be a delightful vibe.
No, we love the show. We've been going every year since its inception at Shacknews. We really enjoy it. We love it. Everything's close. Like the foods are great. There's coffee. There's everything's walking distance. It's always cool inside. I really have no complaints. Like there's nothing negative I could say about your setup, in all to God honesty.
And if you had feedback, we'd listen. Like that survey that the media and creators fill out every year is important. Like, and we listen and we evolve. Like for us, like Jeff, Amanda, and myself, when we met to design what Summer Game Fest could be, it was about a place that like we wanted to go to. Like not about like how do we like mimic other stuff that's been out there. It's like, no, from the ground up, let's talk about like what people actually probably want versus what is the norm. And that's fresh air. That's the delicious food Amanda's talking about. That's like the variety in venues and making sure all the games are strong, because if all the games are curated and all these companies are here because they have strong content, then every company, despite them being perceived competitors, they're all helping each other. It's agnostic in that way. So it's like if Capcom and Bandai and Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo all have things, and even if they're all fighting for the same release dates, all that strong content like makes this industry better ultimately. And I think they believe that. It's not like other conventions where they're competing for decibels on the show floor and everyone's like cranking the volume up. Yeah, exactly. It's like you can't just buy space here. Like you have to talk about.
You can't just drop a money bag down and be like, I want that.
It's about like what publishers want to do and do they want to be a real partner and like partner in a way that it's helping the ecosystem of video games, not just themselves. Yeah, that's what Summer Game Fest is.
Yeah, we have conversations with people, that it's not just a form that you're filling out. So it's really human. And hopefully the whole experience, reflects that humanity and our consideration of people, as a baseline, right?
As things like this get bigger and, budgets get bigger, if there's more interest, more publishers, more third-party people coming in, first-party people wanting to do bigger things, does it get difficult to start to balance that so you still maintain that intimate feel?
I hope not. I mean,
the magic is, games are games, and it's like it's not the summer movie season. It's not like a Mission Impossible has to come out every year from Paramount. Square Enix was here last year, but they weren't here to this year because their games weren't ready. And that's the same for every game company. And like, they might pop in one year and pop out one year, and that's totally okay because it will still feel robust and lovely. So next year will be different, but it will also be the same.
I love asking this question because as you guys continue to grow and be successful, are you looking for work less because people are coming to you now and knocking on your door? And how does that feel after trying to get a company off the ground for so many years? Because you are hitting, it's a lot of no's when you start a company. I know that. It's no thanks, not interested, no thanks. But now I feel like you guys are at the point where you don't have to look for that anymore. Like, people come to you.
I mean, we've been very fortunate, frankly, from the beginning, that we have been in the incoming call business. It has been abnormal for us to be doing a lot of outreach to get business, and we know that that's not standard, and we don't want to jinx it. I'm going to knock on wood, but we feel very fortunate that people want to work with us, and we hope that we can keep meeting their expectations and exceeding them.
And it's a symbiotic relationship. It's, do they want to work with us, but do we want to work with them? Are they good partners? Are they good human beings? We're not just there for the money.
That's pretty anti-capitalistic, sir. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, which is terrible to say. But
I think my brain just broke because my whole life I've been trained that way. Capitalism encourages you to think that way.
Yeah, we'd probably be a whole lot more rich if we were jerks and just didn't care about the people that make things happen. Like, I mean, it's our philosophy. It's like we want to be happy. We want everyone that collaborates with us to be happy and feel proud of what they've created. Yeah.
Biggest misconception from the business side of iam8bit.
Boy, that we only do nostalgia-looking product.
People look at the thing and they see the store. They're like, oh, they make retro Nintendo games.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I don't know what you think.
I mean, you don't see our website as a portfolio website. Like, we make products, sure, but like we've done all these different kinds of things. We've launched a satellite into space, which is the first art that's, orbiting around Earth. We like things that haven't been done before. And so our portfolio isn't really helpful to anything because we'd prefer someone come to us and say, hey, can you help us do this thing that's never happened? This is why we like Epic and Fortnite and all the things we've done with them, because it's always projects that are, oh, we don't know how to do this, but like we're going to figure it out with you.
Is it tough? Is it tough meeting with potential clients because you guys have such a plethora of what you do? And do they look at that as like, oh well, it's a Swiss Army knife. We're looking for more of a scalpel, or do you guys like to focus more on your marketing, or do you like to focus more on your publishing, or do you like to focus on your merchandising or your distribution? Sorry, I'm kidding you with all the questions now.
I mean, we generally don't like to choose. I think we pull out the part of the Swiss Army knife that makes sense for the situation. And sometimes that's 2 implements, so it really just depends. Every interaction is a unique flower, right?
Yeah. Well, she said.
I think just because I'm curious, the current economic climate's kind of wonky right now. Has that affected your businesses in any way with the tariffs and anything like that?
We have been very mindful of the happenings with tariffs. We've been lucky so far that only a couple products have been impacted and we haven't had to pass that along to our consumers. But we're keeping an eye on it because, it could become tenuous if things go awry.
It used to be easier. Every day changes, that like we said, we're nimble. Do we like being nimble like this? No, but we're watching out for folks.
And then my last big question is, where would you like to see Summer Game Fest 10 years from now?
10 years from now, how about in Hawaii?
Oh, hell yeah, let's do this. I can expense that, let's do that.
Yeah. I would like to see people not call it Summer Games Fest as
I
plural.
Did that today,
it's
sorry.
Summer Game Fest. So like in 10 years, I think we'll have made that clear that if there's no S on the game.
If there's an indie game that's looking to be published, or someone trying to get a product that's innovative and video game related out there, or even getting an event space coordinated, what's the first step in contacting you?
info@iam8bit.com, or if you know how to reach John and I directly, of course you can do that.
Pretty easy to figure out. Yeah.